morning, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of With Conviction, a story of hope, horror, and history. My name is Rain, my pronouns are she, her, and I am your GM for this adventure. With me are my intrepid heroes for this campaign. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Alice. Pronouns are she and they, and I play Desdemona Hartwood, whose pronouns are also she and they, and we forgot to talk about pronouns at the diner. Des is a gothy, punky, affecting an apathy towards most people with a heart of pink.
I am Skyland, my pronouns are they and them, and I play Chris Whitlock, whose pronouns are she or any. We recently learned that, we all learned together, in fact, that she is agender, although the concept of getting to play with gender was something may have had a sense of already. Yes, we did, in fact, forget to talk about pronouns in character at the diner. Ah, well, we will get there at some point. Chris is currently deeply fearful of the idea that this snake out might not turn up anything.
And I am Rob. My pronouns are he, him. I play Eliza Hardwick, whose pronouns are she, her. And she is taking us on a snake out because she has made some progress in her investigation.
Yes, last time you discovered that there had been a break-in at a local museum where some swords had been stolen. You dutifully returned the ones that you had found, which were in fact the stolen material, and overheard that some snakes might have been spotted in the area recently. So, knowing that, you came back in the middle of the night to stake out this courthouse turned museum. Why don't you describe what Eliza is up to right now?
Eliza has invited the other two to come with. Are we all in the car together, or?
Sure, we can cover the Eliza expositing to us while we drive.
Yeah, Chris is happy to not drive all the time.
Eliza likes driving. She hates being a passenger. So she picks the two of you up, and once we've got, I think she picks Chris up first and then Des. And once we've got Des, she explains, "So, I went to the museum today because remember all those swords? Turns out 3 of them were from the Shenandoah Valley Museum, and there was a break-in, I learned. And when I was there, oh, go ahead.
Is that didn't your punk friend say something about a break-in?
Uh, I break-ins, but I don't think at a museum.
Eliza actually raises a finger at that and says, "Oh, I bet the other swords were stolen from houses. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. The other thing, while I was there, one of the employees mentioned that they had had a problem with snakes.
Inky snakes by chance?
Kinda got that impression. And here's the thing, this was on Sunday or Monday. So this was after we dealt with the ones in the woods, which means we didn't get them all. And my thinking, if that thing we fought was stealing swords, swords must be important for some reason. I have no idea why, but the snakes and the thing are clearly tied together. I think that it'll try again tonight because I've returned the swords. They've been put back. And that means, well, we're going on a snake out.
So what's the game plan?
Well, if you check that bag next to you, and I'm assuming Chris is in the back seat.
Yes.
Yeah, check that bag next to you. I've got snacks, all my usual stakeout supplies. It's a duffel bag. It's got like some nuts and fruit bars and other shelf stable snacks, along with a camera and a pair of binoculars. She just says, "We are going to hang out for a while and see if anything weird happens."
And if anybody asks, we're looking for owls. Chris holds up the binoculars specifically.
Yeah, somebody download the Merlin Bird app, all right? Then we can really make that sell.
I've already got it.
Oh, great.
So, to set the scene, there is the museum in the middle of a small square with a statue out front. It is surrounded by brick buildings on 3 sides. There are comfortably sized alleyways around it and a brick street running along the 4th side where you would be approaching from. This late at night, it is quite possibly past midnight at this point. All of the shops are closed. There's some dim yellow lights illuminating the street, and you can see the lights inside the museum are on, but the area around it, the alleyways and the courtyard, are dark. How are you setting up?
GM, would this be a good time for me to cash in that 1 XP that I had a few episodes ago for a new skill at +1? We talked about something re Chris's eyesight. Can we call that Inspect?
Yes, normally I would wait for a downtime for that, but
Ah,
yes, I am perfectly okay with you taking that.
cool. I will add that to my sheet.
Uh, Well, having had experiences with parking in random streets, Eliza's actually going to find a parking garage that's open all night and pay to park the car there.
It's shockingly cheap by Eliza's standards.
Yeah, she's used to like $30 overnight parking, so this doesn't make sense to her.
This is $1 an hour.
Oh God. Yeah. All right. She's happy with that.
Eliza's like, wait, is this a trick? Is our car gonna get broken into? Why is it so cheap?
Des is just like, this is normal. What are you talking about?
And she's bringing the snake out bag, and she hands Desdemona the blanket.
Okay.
And all right, so let's go. We're gonna find a spot on the lawn, and we'll use the whole looking for owls thing if anybody asks. But we're gonna keep an eye out.
You all are set up on the lawn. How are you keeping a lookout?
I feel like we're trading off. Like one person is keeping an eye on things and listening, while the other two are allowed to look at their phone at the time. Maybe no, because the phones would ruin our night vision.
Chris has just found that tree that's in front of the museum and is sitting with her knees up by her chest and is like just relaxing against the tree, like looking, but also relaxed.
I think maybe all three of us are like there with the blanket spread out so we're not getting bugs on our legs. And I think Eliza actually a bit of just like Eliza does like a walk around of the building first to get a sense of how it should look. And then she settles down and asks the other two, so I never like got your pronouns and all.
Oh, for me, she and they work great.
Chris shrugs. She or Annie.
All right, well,
You?
all she all the time for me.
What is it that we're watching for?
Remember the thing we fought yesterday? It must have been what broke in here and stole the sword. And I think that not it, because we dealt with it, but something else is going to show up and try to take one of the swords again. Because the swords must be important, so we're kind of using them as bait.
So, I mean, again, this is confusing. Why would weird magic monsters need regular swords?
That's the part I don't know, but that thing was gathering cutting implements. And it must have had a reason. I can't imagine it was just running on instinct and doing all that, which I
And
don't know, that's
they, they can speak.
what?
All three that we've encountered so far, they've spoken.
What? Eliza like turns and looks directly at Desdemona.
You didn't hear them talking?
I heard them making noise. Was it words?
I heard words, Chris.
Yeah, they wanted food, or at least the sword one did. And didn't the sword one say something about keys?
The sword one said one thing. The snake one was talking about being hungry. What the? I don't remember what the really creepy arm one said.
Well,
I don't know.
do you remember what the sword one said?
Can I roll for memory?
Yeah, see how much you remember.
That is a 10.
The sword one said three things. When you first saw it, it was muttering something about the sword is the key. When it was injured, it said, "Here, bite this." And then the second time it healed itself up, it said, "This won't hurt."
Okay, Des relays that.
Sword is the key. A key means a lock. Listen, I've dealt with enough of these things. Two of these things, I actually found their lairs and hunted them there. In Chicago, the one I dealt with, it was in this old basement of a condemned hotel, and I like had to. It was kind of a. It felt like a puzzle almost. I had to piece together parts of why this hotel had been condemned and what this thing had done to make it its den. And then I got into the den itself. In LA, it didn't feel like there was a lock, but maybe I just got in at the right time. But if these things have a lock on their layers, that means they're taking steps to protect their layers from us.
It makes sense that they're trying to guard their lair. The things that they say are so close to making sense, but I haven't seen anything connecting these creatures beyond Hazel being missing and them being really, really creepy.
Eliza like stands up and she's just pacing back and forth because she's filled with this need to do something right now and she can't do anything about it. And she's just the more we hunt these, the more we can learn, the more we can figure out about them. But we need to find this one. And if the blade is the key, wait, maybe it's not to the layers. Because why would it need a key to its own layer?
Des, there's suddenly a very loud ping as your phone goes off.
Okay. I think at the very least, Des like jumps a little bit.
Eliza's got like a ball of fire in one hand looking around.
She scrambles and almost fumbles her phone, pulling it out of her pocket.
It's a text from Neil. Good news, bad news? Question mark.
Bad news, she texts back.
Can't find the name. Good news, there's a few of these things, and I still have their RFID. They're poking around sort of east of town.
She tells the others this and texts back, "Thanks, Neil. I appreciate it."
He gives you a thumbs up.
Are we east of town already?
No, we're downtown. Old town.
Chris is not great at navigation.
This is all a mystery to me and to Des. She's like, I punch addresses in on my map app, and I get there, and everything in between is a mystery.
Eliza like takes a look at the stuff that comes up when she looks east of town, notices burnt factory, thinks, "Oh, that's something I should check out," but doesn't feel like that's really conclusive.
Yeah, you notice the suburbs you had seen the drone in and the forest where you had the first encounter with the snakes are in that general direction.
Do we want to send somebody to look at that area and then touch back, or
I mean, it's another lead, but
But then we're splitting up, right? I mean, I know Eliza can handle stuff. Or I mean, who else would we send over there?
Faith is asleep by now, Eliza says to herself.
and I wouldn't want to put her in
Chris,
position to deal with this anyway.
roll inspect.
Ooh, that was fast.
That was fast. Alright. Oh, Jesus. My dice are not happy with me today. That is a
Uh-oh.
6 plus 1 is 7.
Clunk. The door to the museum closes.
Chris had been staring generally in the direction of that door anyway.
You see a humanoid figure slipping out. The door closes. It has something in its hands, and it hurries away and disappears around the corner of the building.
Now, Chris is not particularly good at noticing, but if she was already looking at something, she'll see those details. So she taps both Eliza and Des on the shoulder and points.
Do we see anything in time, or
I think you see it disappear around the corner of the building.
Okay, do we
Let's go. Let's go.
go? We go?
We go. Eliza is already running.
Chris runs around the other side of the building from Eliza, again trying to get in front of whatever it is.
Des is taken off after Eliza.
All right. Who has skills relating to running or chasing?
Chris has sprint.
I was about to say, this has to be our sporty not a girl.
Uh-huh. What about everyone else?
Nope.
I have something that will help when we get close. I mean, maybe endure for like endurance, but other than that,
Yes. Roll endure and sprint and a flat roll.
My flat roll was a 7.
All right, Chris.
Chris's roll is a 10 plus 1 is 11.
Ooh.
All right. And Des.
that'd be a 6 with the +1.
Oof.
All right. So you take off like a shot. Des kind of, okay, we're going. And Eliza is following you. She's not as fast a runner as you are, Chris, but she has had some experience in moving quickly in dangerous situations. You see this thing turn another corner as it disappears onto another street as it exits the alleyway. You are able to follow it as you get to that road. This is not part of the walking mall. This is a normal street, and it is already getting down the road, but you are able to keep pace with it. You are slowly gaining. Eliza, you can see it, but you are not gaining on it. You are not far behind Chris. Des, you are in the rear. You definitely kind of missed your mark there, but you can at least see where the others are going. All right, it is going to take another turn into another alleyway, and it's going to try and shake you. Everyone, yeah, you were able to see which way it turned, so roll sprint to see if you can catch it before it turns the next corner.
I got an 8 this time.
So did Chris.
Is this still with endure or just a flat roll?
Yes.
Okay, then that is an 11.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Des catches her second wind and is catching up with everyone. The other two, you are able to keep up and see which way it's going. It is going a little faster than you at this point. So it's stretching the distance, but you are able to still follow it. Go ahead and roll for me one more time.
My final roll is an 11.
That's good. Chris's was 7 total.
Mine is a 12 total for
Whoa.
Des.
God damn.
We're fast, apparently.
Yeah, you all are gaining on it. And as you gain on it, it looks over its shoulder at you and begins picking up. Its pace is weird. It looks like this thing never really learned how to walk in the first place and is sort of guessing at what these limbs do. One of them is curled around whatever it is that it's holding in its hands, or in one hand. It's this weird loping pace. It looks over its shoulder at you and picks up its pace, turns around just as a figure steps out into the road ahead of you. It's hard to make out the shape, but the body language is very clear. Unhesitating, braced. They lift something to their face, and the world goes white. The sound of a shuddering camera is quickly drowned out by the bassy howling of the beast. It stumbles, and there's a crunch as something strikes it. And your night vision begins to return. A woman's voice reaches you. Who the hell? Hey, you three! I don't know who you are, but you need to leave. It's hard to make out colors, but you can get a better view of her. A young woman about your own age, hair in a bob cut, and a small frame braced with energy. In one hand, she holds a camera, in the other, a long piece of steel pipe. The shrouded beast curls and twists back to its feet, and she stands firm.
Eliza is not heeding the order to leave. She's still running after this creature.
It is just pulling itself back to its feet, and she is standing over it. There are only two zones in this fight.
Oh boy.
There is the alleyway where you are emerging from, and there is the street where this woman and the creature are. So, what are the three of you doing?
Chris's heart is pounding from the effort, the adrenaline, and the being on the verge of. She's not sure what it is. She's not got time to pay attention to what's going on emotionally. But she is going to duck behind a building real quick and transform.
Go ahead and roll that.
Oh god, that is a 4 on the dice. I think that stepping behind the alleyway has lost her some time in that transformation process.
Yeah.
And that means she is off balance and has a -1 to her next roll, right?
Hesitating and has a -1
Ah.
to the next roll. Yes.
Right.
What's Eliza doing?
Eliza is not hesitating, but she's also not transforming. She's just running for this creature and doing one of those long forward lean runs. And she is out of options, has not thought this through. She's just gonna try to jam her shoulder into this thing as she runs straight into it.
Okay, give me a fight roll.
Clearly none of her skills apply to this. That's a 2.
Oh no.
Oh
Boy.
no. That is the worst possible roll.
As you get close to it, you're able to make out the details of this thing that you hadn't been able to see from a distance. It's a humanoid shape, swathed in tattered cloths and stained bandages. Its head is covered by a burial shroud. You can see inky black splotches in slash marks across its body. And it's, again, moving as if it doesn't really understand what to do with the limbs it has been given. It is able to sort of almost slide around you and bending in ways that the human body does not bend. You just kind of find yourself past it.
I think she stumbles for a moment when that happens, and she looks at the woman and says, "You need to get out of here. You don't know what you're dealing with."
You are now off balance.
Yep.
Des is seeing the way that this is going, and she also tries to run out of sight of this person with a camera, and she pulls out her phone to tell Faith, I think all in a rush, hey, we're fighting something down in the downtown, gotta go by.
Oh,
And I think if it can she break line of sight with this reporter person or people generally?
I think so, yeah. We'll say you can retreat we'll add another zone to this around the corner of the alley. So we're
Okay.
now working with around the corner of the alley, and the street on the opposite side.
you could duck into the telephone booth, but Superman is in there changing. Get awkward.
And you transform there. We will also say that that's where Chris is, because Chris also wanted to break line of sight.
Okay. Then yeah, she's gonna transform. Uh,
Go ahead and roll.
that is a 4.
Ooh, bad
Um,
rolls all around.
yeah, we're not doing so hot. We were caught off balance, you might say. Um, uh, okay, so that means -1 on my next roll. Is that right?
Yes, you are hesitating as
Okay.
you quickly put your phone away and then try to summon up that song that you have been told about.
Exactly. Yeah, I think also she's still a little reluctant, and so the transformation doesn't go great.
Yeah.
Is she still cringing at every single accessory that appears?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
She's
What
like,
happens when the bright peppy voice comes out of her mouth?
um, yeah. What would she say in a situation like this? What would the inner Desdemona say? I think it's something along the lines of she finishes transforming, and and goes, "Okay, guys, I texted Faith and I'm talking too loudly, and we're gonna stop this thing."
All right, first round. Who's going first?
This woman, you said she was wielding like a length of pipe?
Correct.
Huh. I think I like her.
I'm fine with Eliza going first. If not, because I can't get in close enough to protect or anything.
Otherwise, Chris can go if you're not sure that Eliza should go here, Robert.
Yeah, Eliza is going to. She's not ready to go yet. So I think Chris should go first.
Chris steps out from around the corner in the alleyway into the alley, because otherwise she can't really see the street and the monster. And she raises a hand that is in that blue and orange bolero, takes a step forward, the high heels of her boots clacking on the pavement below, and she hurls a chunk of hope at that monster. In this case, hope is a piece of earth.
I was going to ask what hope looked like.
Mm.
All right, go ahead and make that fight roll.
Okay, and this is -1 rolling with place, though?
Yes.
So it'll be a total of just +1.
Yeah.
Well, that's all sorts of shit. That is a 4 on the dice, +1 is 5.
We are bad at this today.
That's yeah. No, it sails past the thing, just bounces off the pavement and does not land. It's this thing's turn next. And that twisting, curling motion that I mentioned earlier, it turns to you, Eliza, and it curls around you like a snake.
Oh,
You begin to hear it whisper as one hand reaches up and pulls back the burial shroud. Des and Chris, you can't see what is under that shroud, but it leans into her ear. And Eliza, you just hear, "Do we need to really do this, Chris? Please just trust me." And it's going to sway.
oh no.
Now you are off balance, and
Correct.
because of its traits, this roll is also decisive. So it is rolling at a +2.
Oh boy.
And that is a total of 10.
Oh.
So you move 1 point toward darkness.
Here's the thing. I'm already at 4 darkness.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
All right.
Eliza,
Yeah.
as this
Hold
thing
on.
Mm.
I have an ability.
Oh.
As part of my core, I think. So I have access to cooldown once per scene. When an intense moment threatens to push a friend to the breaking point, you can intervene to calm them and shift their conviction 1 point towards center. So I think Des sees the darkest purple flames beginning to like lick around Eliza, and she calls out, "Eliza, we're here. We're gonna help. We're gonna keep you safe."
There are puffs of black fire just coming off of Eliza's body as this thing is wrapping around her. She is barely holding it together. But for the moment, she is.
So that drags you back to 4.
Yeah.
All right, that's this thing's turn. Who's going next?
I'm ready for Eliza to do something.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Eliza looks at this thing that straight up has her, glances at the woman with the pipe, and decides that this is way past the point of keeping any secrets, and she transforms right in front of this woman. And we get the full transformation sequence, hands over her heart, fire dropping to the ground, black fire burning her down to a skeleton, and ash coalescing into a new form. And she does roll a 7 on her transformation.
All right, you are able to shift one toward light or dark?
Um,
Where are you going?
well, shifting towards dark would be a bad idea, as that would push me right over the edge again. So yeah, I'm gonna shift her to light, so the black fire turns purple as she shifts to -3 darkness instead of -4. And as she does this, I think what happens is her backpack jets pop out of the back, and she's trying to burn this thing off of her with the fire.
All right, that sounds like a fight roll. Well, you're rolling transformation,
Yes.
so that's your action.
Yeah, and it's just me trying to get out of the hold it has on me.
Yeah, unfortunately that sounds like a fight roll, so that'll have to wait.
Then pass turn.
This thing is still clinging to you. You're not listening to me. Please. And it's going to try to sway you again. Yeah, it's a partial success. It is going to sway you 1 point toward
I
darkness
am
again.
back to 4. You two can actually see the fire coming off of Eliza's jets, just wavering between purple and black.
So I still have my turn, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. I think Des is actually gonna shout at the creature. She's going to go, "Hey, ugly! Uh, we already have someone to whisper sweet nothings into her ear." She's going to sway the creature.
All right, go ahead and roll.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me! That is a 2.
So you shift 1 point toward darkness.
Yes, indeed. Oh boy, oh boy. Also, if I wasn't already, I want to be moved up into the alley zone.
Okay, so you are also advancing on this thing.
Yes, because the monster's in the street zone, right?
Yes. It's this thing's turn again. And it whispers into your ear again, Eliza, and rolls an 8
Yeah, that's enough.
and pushes you into 5 darkness once more.
We just see Eliza, and this is the first time either of you have seen fear in Eliza's eyes, as this thing is wrapping around her like a snake, crushing her, whispering in her ear. You don't even hear what it says the last time, but it sure says something, because the puffs of black fire that were coming out of her a moment ago, they're just more like outright flames, and you see her jets on her back wings just kind of sputter like coughing engines.
May I jump in for a moment?
Sure.
As your fire lashes and sputters, you can feel this power begin to well inside you like rising currents rushing and cresting into a lashing storm. Fury, strength, power, it's all there if you will only will to reach out and grasp it. The power to destroy everyone that you hate, to take vengeance on everyone who has ever hurt you. These monsters, the police, the men in lab coats you know will come for you one day, your parents. You could destroy everything, reset this terrible world. You could make it end.
Eliza's battle dress shatters. It discorporates into ash. The backpack just falls apart into individual pieces that clang on the ground before just reducing into clumps of ash that blow away in the wind. Eliza is left helpless in her casual clothes for a moment, and then you see her head loll back as she passes out.
In this moment, you hear someone screaming. It sounds like your voice, but it's hard to tell what's going on around you as your consciousness begins to fade. And just as this darkness is about to overwhelm you, you break and it explodes outward. We just see all of the lights flicker and go out. The darkness surges outward from Eliza and it finds you two, Des, Chris. It sinks into your shield and into your hands, and you can feel them thrum with power, ready to destroy something. And there's a monster right there.
So every character has a breaking point ability, and in the case of a warrior, such as Eliza, the power is Spirit, which says, when you reach your breaking point, your soul enchants your allies' weapons with an echo of your power. Gain a bank of stress equal to your current conviction, which is 5. For the rest of the scene, whenever a friend makes a successful fight action, you may spend up to 2 stress to add to the stress they deal. So basically, while I am out of the fight, I am able to use Eliza's spirit power to add to damage incoming on her ally, or on the nasty.
Well, that's great news since I recently actually took a fight-based skill, so I can actually do some damage. And another thing that I realized as part of my character, how it's built, I get the ability Guidance, which means that when I fail to sway someone, ordinarily, if you fail a sway roll, you move 1 point towards the target's conviction. In this case, it would have moved me, as mentioned, another point down the darkness track. But I am unmoved by failing sways, so I'm still at
Yes.
3. So,
Excellent.
so we got a moment before I go overboard.
Yeah, but there's one more person in this fight. This woman seeing this happen is just, what the heck? Fuck this. And she takes a wail on this thing with the steel pipe. And she hits it pretty nice. There's a nice meaty crunch, and it bends in a way that humans don't when it's hit. And it takes a point of stress.
Woo!
Can Spirit add to that, even though she's not part of the team?
Yes, she is your ally.
All right, so yeah, as she strikes, there's a puff of black fire, and an extra 1 stress hits this thing.
Excellent.
What the fuck? Okay. And this thing is going to shriek and lash out at her. It's going to attempt a fight roll. It does actually hit her. She also takes 1 stress as she tries to block this thing with the pipe, and it is clawing furiously at her. And that is where we end the round.
I have a question then. How much stress would you say a non-magic person has can take?
I think it depends on the person. I would say somewhere between 3 and 5.
Okay.
It depends on the person. It can go lower, it can go higher.
Okay. So top of the round,
Chris is itching to go.
go for it. Go for it.
Chris is furious. Unbidden, wings sprout from Chris's back. She hasn't gotten the sense of how to control these with her transformations yet, but they appear nonetheless. Mechanically, she can't fly, but she is hovering a couple feet off the ground now as she stares this thing down. You want to talk? You are saying my name! Talk to fucking me! And she would like to roll. I would like to have her roll to protect the mundane person here. I'd like to roll charm.
Okay, yeah, no. Given the way you're doing this absolutely makes sense to me. Go ahead and roll.
I would also like to use the Firebrand ability Flare to add my current conviction to this result.
Oh, hell yes.
My current conviction is 1 light. So as she's speaking, as these words come from her mouth, the air around her brightens momentarily. Let's hope the dice don't fuck me over. That is 6 plus 1 for charm plus 1 for flare is 8 total.
All right, yes, that makes it a partial success.
Is half the stress or conviction shift rounding down?
Yes. This thing rounds on you. It hears what you're saying, and it listens. And it swarms towards you. you can hear it. It's going to move into the alley with you, and you hear its voice. Fine, I'll prove it. And it's going to sway you. Okay, that is a 7 total.
Okay. Tell me what happens.
It is going to move you 1 point toward darkness.
Center. Her conviction is center.
So, I was a little unclear. Is Chris in the air now?
Not in the air enough for it to matter. It is still easily within reach of the alley. Only certain things can put you in the air that way, and Chris doesn't have them.
Yep.
Cool.
Mechanically, Chris is not built for a flight ability at all. This is just a flavor thing where she's hovering 1 or 2 feet off the ground.
Okay, then Des, her shield appears. We can see the ghostly black flames from Eliza licking around the edges of it, and she starts to stroll forward and goes, "Creepy mummy monster thing. That was a bad move." And she turns the stroll into an all-out sprint as she tries to slam into this thing with her shield. So I'm going to do fight with that new shield check ability. Finally. Okay. So that is a 9.
Yeah, that is a partial success. You deal a point of stress.
And Spirit is going to add 2 to that to make it 3 stress.
Okay.
And what does that look like?
Yeah, so her almost nonchalant stroll turns into a like head down sprint with her shield out in front of her, and she slams into this creature, where as her shield makes contact, those flames that we saw on it leap out of it to burn this monster, as it also gets bludgeoned.
You check into it, and it falls backwards, screaming, and you look up to see that its bandages have caught on fire. It is twisting and howling, and as its bandages begin to burn away, you see that there's nothing underneath. And pretty soon this thing is gone. And the woman looks at it, looks at the sword it dropped, and looks at you three and goes, "Do you fucking believe me now, Chris?"
Chris drops from her hover. Hazel, I didn't know who you were. I don't know. Fuck, I'm so sorry.
And I think that is a good place for us to wrap this episode up.
Excellent. That's Hazel?
What the fuck?
I knew it as soon as Rain introduced it.
Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Thank you to my players, and have a good night. Thank you again for joining us on this adventure. With Conviction is a production of Silver Maiden Games. If you would like to play Conviction, check out the game at silvermaidengames.itch.io. Music for the intro and outro of this podcast is A Soul with Conviction by Doom Vega, who you can find on Bandcamp. Music within the episodes is by Rachel Rose Mitchell, who you can find on Bandcamp and Spotify. All rights to the music are retained by their original artist. Production and editing are done by myself and the With Conviction cast. Thank you all. This would not be what it is without you. You can find this podcast on Spotify and YouTube or silvermaidengames.wordpress.com. You can also find more about the game, podcast, and ways to contact us at silvermaidengames.wordpress.com.